So there's this story in Matthew chapter 18, and the disciples are having a conversation with Jesus, and they're asking him, Jesus, how often do we have to forgive others? Peter chimes in and he asks the question, he says, 7 times? Now when Peter says 7 times, he's actually giving himself a pat on the back because he thinks Jesus is going to say 3 times. So he's really thinking he's going above and beyond. And then Jesus blows their minds when he says, no, 7 times 70 times is how often you need to forgive somebody else who keeps screwing up over and over again. And then Jesus jumps into this story, and basically the story is this. There's this guy who owes a king what would equal about $1 million. And the loan is up and he owes the money, and he goes to the king and he begs the king for more time to pay off the loan. Now this guy has no possible way to pay off this loan. No way whatsoever. But he asks the king for more time to do it. And what does the king do? Does the king give him more time to pay it off? No. The king actually forgives him of his debt completely. Gone. Wiped away. $1 million. Forgiven. I don't know about you, but that would be incredible to get a call from the bank and going, hey Josh, your mortgage, done. We just forgave it. Don't worry about it. Like, think about that. But then what ends up happening is this guy who owed the king all this money, he goes off and he finds a buddy of his who owes him like $100. And he goes to the guy and he demands the money right now. And what does the guy do? He doesn't have the money. He doesn't have the $100. And the guy asks him for more time to pay it. And what does this man do? He does not give him more time. He throws him in jail, which he's legally allowed to do, but he throws him in jail because he can't pay him $100. He doesn't have the money. Well, the king hears about this and he becomes furious. And he calls the debtor, he calls him back into his presence and he says, I forgave you $1 million and you can't forgive $100? And he throws him in jail to be tormented until the payment can be made. You see, Jesus tells this story, and this story is us. We are the debtors. We are the ones who owe so much to the king, and yet we have no possible way to pay it off. And yet Jesus has come to earth and said, I will make the payment, I'll pay it all, it's wiped clean. This is bigger than just your mortgage being paid off. This is your eternal soul that has been forgiven of everything. And yet, what do we so often do as Christians? We run around demanding that those around us who can't afford to pay us back in retribution for what they did or what they said or the way they treated us. And we hold everyone else accountable to this super high standard that we can't live up to ourselves. And we hold people up to this super high standard and we demand that they come back to us groveling and repaying us for such little amounts, and we withhold forgiveness for them because they hurt us with their words. Or maybe they even did terrible things to us. Don't get me wrong, I know people can do terrible things to us, and yet it fails in comparison to the debt that we owe God, that He didn't ask us to repay Him. He didn't say, I'll give you more time to pay me back. He said, your debt is clean. Church, we have got to learn how to wipe the debts off in people in our lives when we feel like they owe us. That we don't just try to forgive people 7 times or even 70 times 7 times. That's not the mathematical number of how many times you have to forgive people. It is that we would be a people of forgiveness and that we would walk and live and breathe forgiveness to the world around us and show them the way of the King. Church, let's be people of forgiveness. And if there's a time where our country, where our nation needs forgiveness, where we need to forgive each other, now is that time. I want to encourage you today, if you have somebody that has wronged you, I want to challenge you, forgive them today. Thank you guys. I love you. Talk to you later. Bye.